Hey there, welcome to Craft Central Designs. I have for you an adorable Christmas wreath today in a reindeer theme. Now, I have done a reindeer theme wreath and very recently, but I changed up the entire look of the wreath. Actually, I'm doing this for a client, and so I thought I would let you see an alternative means to create that reindeer head wreath from the wood cut out from Hobby Lobby. So keep watching to see how I changed this wreath up with a whole new look. I love this one, and I hope you do as well. And I hope you feel inspired to make one for your home. If you are not a current subscriber, I hope you will consider becoming one, and as well, please give this tutorial a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. And of course, always, your comments are welcome. Okay, let me show you how I created this very cute Christmas wreath from the wood cutout reindeer from Hobby Lobby. Now, this reindeer head, after 50% off, is only $3, and it's pretty solid. It's a nice, solid piece to work with. And the last time I created something with this reindeer head, I suggested in the video that you try using scrapbook paper, and that's just what I'm going to do today. Now, I used my heat gun, and pretty easily I got the nose off and the antlers. This way I can cover that reindeer head with the scrapbook paper. This turned out so cute. So I use a paint scraper. After I heat that up a bit, get the glue softened up, and that just came right off. I was very happy. I was concerned because it was a Hobby Lobby piece, and they tend to do their pieces a little bit more of a solid construction as opposed to the Dollar Tree. But it actually came off pretty easily. So I'm going to be covering the head with one type of scrapbook paper, and then I'm going to cover the ears with another. I took the nose off as well. I'm actually going to be switching that nose that came on the piece with a 2-inch wood round. I wanted a little bit bigger nose, and I wanted it round. So I chose some scrapbook paper. Now, this print that I'm using for the head is kind of a leafy holly print. Now, I suggest for this type of project that you use scrapbook paper with a print that's small, nothing too large. You want to be able to show off the print, and if it's too big, it's going to get lost once you cut it out, if you understand what I mean by that. All right, so now I am tracing around the antlers just like I traced around the head. And now I have my pieces all cut out. Now, actually, you're going to see later that I switched out my antler papers because the paper I felt was a little bit too much of a barn red as opposed to a Christmas red, and I had more Christmas red going on the piece, so it doesn't alter anything that you're seeing here. You do it exactly the same way. I'm just mentioning that you're going to notice that I used a different paper on the antlers. I changed that up later. Now I'm going to put a generous coat of Mod Podge on here all the way out to the edges. I like to put my Mod Podge in a squirt bottle. I'm going to use my mini Cricut heat press to press on my paper after the Mod Podge is completely dry. I used parchment paper as well, but you don't necessarily have to have that. You don't have to do it that way. You could place your scrapbook papers on the moist Mod Podge. I suggest you use a piece of saran wrap to rub over that to smooth it out. But as you can see here, I'm using my mini Cricut heat press because I am just a little obsessed with this method of applying scrapbook paper to a surface. But again, you don't have to do this. You can just simply put it on the moist Mod Podge and then use something to smooth it out. All the way out to the edges. And if you like, you can use sandpaper or a zip sander or a sanding block or whatever you like. If you want to go around the edges, I didn't feel it was necessary on my piece, but you do you. Okay, so now I'm in the process of placing my scrapbook paper on the head and the antlers, and that works just beautifully. Now, you can use those plastic, I call them Google eyes, plastic eyes that they sell in the craft stores, or you can paint your eyes on. Now, I'm going to use the eye design that I normally use. I'm showing you here. You draw 2 lines for the inside interior part of the eye. Then you just draw 2 teardrops. Add some eyelashes, add an eyeball, and a light to the eye. And it's that simple. It's actually just 2 teardrops. That's my favorite type of eye for characters. And so I drew that on with a pencil. Now I'm going to take some acrylic paint and a fine line brush, and I am going to paint on my eyes right on that scrapbook paper. And this works out just fine. I also have a line for the ear, which I'll show you here in just a bit. And for that line, I did kind of a wispy line with my paintbrush. I believe I do show you how I do that. But I'm just going to go ahead and paint my eyes on here. For the white part of the eye, I'm just going to use just any acrylic paint will do, but I believe I use Snow White Waverly chalk paint. I'm going to go ahead, paint in the eyes, and here you have it. Have to do the white there, as I'm showing you. But what I mentioned before was I just used little wispy lines to create that line for the ear. So you just take a fine line paintbrush and just do little wispy lines like you see me doing there. I'm just doing like little strokes that looks like fur or hair. Now I already put the eyelashes on my eyes with my fine line paintbrush. Now I have to paint in the whites of the eyes and put the little white light in the eye. And there we have the eyes, so cute. And I have the ears all done. Now, do you see that red paint there, how it's more of a red, like a Christmas red? That's when I painted the nose, that's when I realized that the original scrapbook paper that I was going to use there was just a little bit too much of a kind of a rustic barn red. So I did change the ears out. I didn't show you that I did that, but you're going to notice it here in just a bit. Now I'm going to be hanging a couple of strands of jingle bells from my reindeer's ears. So you could do this part or not do this part, but I took some baker's twine, red and white, and I'm just going to string some jingle bells on this twine, and I'm going to be hanging those from the antlers. Now, you won't be able to see much of the effects of that until you actually see it on the wreath in an upright position, because the jingle bells will just dangle down from the antlers. But anyway, as easy as can be, I just fed the jingle bells on, or strung them onto the string, and then I tied some knots. I was trying to keep them from moving around. I wanted them to kind of sit in a particular position on that string, so I was just trying to manipulate the string to get them to do that. Now, as I mentioned, you could do this part or not do this part. On the previous wreath that I did, I used a string of the tiny little Christmas lights. They're very, very tiny, and I strung them through the antlers. Now, if you prefer, you could use that idea. I purchased that string of the little craft lights in the department at Hobby Lobby, where they have all the little miniature tree supplies, the Christmas tree supplies. So you could do that, or you could just leave the antlers as they are. I mean, that's your choice, whatever you want to do. You could also put some Mod Podge on the top of the antlers and create a look of snow on the antlers. You could do that as well. I love Dollar Tree snow if you're looking for a nice faux snow. But here I am still tying little knots for my jingle bells. And it looks like I put 3 on a strand. All right, here we go with the nose. Now, I'm showing you the original nose. Use it or not use it. I'm just going to keep my little piece of wood for something else, but I wanted a round nose. I mentioned in my previous video that I had done a garland with these reindeer heads in the past. It was a really beautiful, big, long garland with like 6 reindeer heads on it. It was the cutest thing. But for each of the reindeers, I changed the nose out and I used a 2-inch wood round and I painted them red. And I just wanted to duplicate that look again because I loved it so much the first time. So I painted a couple of coats on there. I painted the sides as well. And then later I'm going to take a dry brush and just put a little white swoosh over the top of the nose. And you can see it right there. It was very subtle, but I wanted to just add that little feature on the nose. There's different ways to do this. This is the way that I choose to do it. And I'm showing you there that that circle is 2 inches. I'm going to be just hot gluing that nose on to the reindeer's head. Now this is looking so cute, but at this point I have not changed out the paper on the antlers. Now at first I elected to just hot glue these antlers on. And I'm actually glad that I did, being that I had to take them off. I just used my heat gun and I was able to loosen those up right from that scrapbook paper, which I was a little worried that I was going to rip the scrapbook paper, but it went so well. So I was really happy about that. So then I was able to change out the antlers. The paper that I used for the antlers that I changed out is a red background with the little words ho, ho, ho. And so it's a cute paper for the antlers as well. Now, when I place my jingle bells on, I'm simply going to drape them over, and I'm just going to decide where I want to place my jingle bells hanging down. And then I'm going to just simply hot glue that string on the back of the antler. But you're probably thinking, yes, but you're changing out the papers. Yeah, I did. So I had to peel off those jingle bells. But just for information's sake, that's what you're going to do. You're just going to drape them over the antler wherever you'd like them to be, and then just hot glue them on the back. Sorry, my hand's a little out of frame there, but all I'm doing here is just gluing. Now for the back of this piece, you're going to see here in just a bit that I'm going to be adding some pipe cleaners and some pieces of felt, just so I will have a means to attach that to that that frame, that wire wreath frame, which is actually the faux evergreen. Okay, it's time for a beautiful bow, and look at the ribbon that I found at Michael's. So perfect, right? It's so cute. So it's a Celebrate ribbon, 2.5 inch. And then I wanted to pair it up with something. I wanted to add a little white onto the wreath. So I took this 2.5 inch ribbon from Hobby Lobby, 50% off for the ribbons. I believe I got that ribbon at Michael's, 50% off as well. And I'm just going to make the loops of my bow 14 inches, and my tail, I'm going to stay with the 16 inches that I usually use. And I'm just going to fold over my loops and do my bows, construct my bow in the same way that I always do. Now, my previous video that I did recently, I really spent a lot of time showing you how to make a bow. I believe it was my traditional wreath that I did, but I really spent a good amount of time explaining it. I'm going to explain it a little bit here, but I've accelerated it just a little bit. So my loops are 14 inches. I just fold over my loops, pinch them in the center. Be sure to twist the ribbon so you always have the good side up. You can measure up your loops as you go along with one another, just to make sure that you have them even. And I'm going to do, this is the base of my bow. It's going to be 3 loops on each side at 14 inches in length, 16 inches for the tail. I'm going to cut my tail off to match it up with my original tail. And now I've created the base of my bow, and I just wrapped a red pipe cleaner around there with the tails pulled evenly on the back. And then I'm going to create a bow to rest on top of that bow with my very cute reindeer Christmas ribbon. 16 inches for the tail. I give it a pinch, measure out. Now I want these loops to be a little bit smaller, so I'm going to take them down to 13 inches. So I fold over my loops, pinch it in the center, twist my ribbon, fold it over, twist, fold it, pinch. It's that easy. I check my loops to make sure they're symmetrical as I go along. Fold over my loops, pinching it in the center, holding it with my thumb and my index finger. Twist the ribbon. I'm doing 3 loops on each side here at 13 inches. See how I pinch my loops together to make sure they're even? Because I can adjust that as I go along. Now I have 3 loops on each side. Now I'm going to create one single loop to go to rest right on the top of the 3 loops. So I'm just creating a little bit of depth or a little bit of volume to my wreath or to my bow here. And I created that same single loop on the other side. So now I have 3 loops with one single loop resting on each side. Now I'm taking a full-size pipe cleaner, wrapping it around, twisting it really tight. And then I'm going to create one single loop. Look how cute that is. Going right down the center. And as luck would have it, and it was good luck, I have a reindeer sitting right in the center of my center loop. How lucky was that? Just added another element of cuteness to this very cute wreath. So I'm twisting my pipe cleaners in the back. I secured my center loop by poking my pipe cleaner through that loop and twisting it around in the back. Now I cut off my tail at the 16 inches. I'm going to give it a gentle fold, pop it right through that center loop, marry it up with the tails on the bottom, and I will take care of the finishing of those tails later. Now, I know that was a little bit accelerated, but like I said, if you really want to see a slower, much more methodical, slower version, look at my recent video that I did on creating a traditional Christmas wreath, and that will really help you out. Okay, so I'm going to take my base bow, hold it in my hand, separate the tails with my arm down the center, pop that reindeer bow right on top of there, align the centers of the bows, press it together very tightly. Look how pretty that looks together. Pop a pipe cleaner right through the center, bring it around the back, and now those two bows are married up, and they are now one big, fabulous bow. I twist my pipe cleaners in the back, and I have enough of those pipe cleaners in excess that I can just wrap those around the wreath frame, and that's how I will attach my bow, which, by the way, it's going to be attached at around 9 o'clock on that wreath. Look how pretty that bow is with all those cute reindeers. Oh my gosh, I love that. Super, super cute. And those ribbons are all wired, so they're going to hold their shape well on that wreath. All right, so I have this 24-inch faux evergreen wreath that I'm going to be using for my wreath base. Now, I picked this up at Hobby Lobby. I love their faux evergreen wreaths. It's $13.99 at 50% off. And as I've mentioned in previous videos, $7 for a well-constructed wreath, such as this one, to me is a very good deal. So I'm just going to shape my wreath, go around the entire wreath, opening up all of those evergreen pieces. Now, I am kind of a little bit going crazy with wreath orders and keeping up with my channel and all that. So I kind of used up all my Deco mesh. And so I recalled after I made all of my bundles that I didn't do a little bit of a video to show you how I do that. So I took it apart, showed you how I rolled up my Woodland Method bundles. It's just my loose method of Woodland, the Woodland Method. I'm going to be creating around 8 bundles to go around this wreath. I'm not putting a lot of bundles on. I just want to add some red and white. Now, having said that, I felt a little guilty because I did such a quickie demonstration of that I decided to show you again how to do it. You're going to see it here in just a bit with some nice flat Deco mesh. I'm going to show you that here in a minute. So anyway, let's just go onward here. To attach these Deco mesh bundles to the wreath frame, it's very simple. You can either use the wired evergreen pieces and just wrap them around, twist them, and do it. Be sure that you do it when you do that. Pull it way down deep into the wreath. You don't want them bobbling on the top. And just use a little bit of a zigzag pattern so that you distribute it around the wreath. Now remember, there's going to be a big bow at 9 o'clock, so you can leave that part bare. But otherwise, just go around the wreath. I believe I used 8 bundles. And I just go around and attach those, leaving that space open at 9 o'clock, figuring you're going to have a nice size bow there. Now here I am. I'm going to show you how I created the bundle. This is a different Deco mesh, but that's okay. Just the method is still the same. I cut 2 16-inch pieces of Deco mesh. Choose 2 different types of Deco mesh. For me, I use the snowball and the striped. and then cut another piece at 16 inches. You're going to place 2 pieces of deco mesh together to create one bundle. I use the loose woodland method. I like my bundles loose roll. So I hold it with one hand, roll it up on the other side, holding the first roll with my hand. I place a clip on there. Now you do the other one. Roll it up with one hand, hold it, take the other hand, roll it up a couple of times, scrunch it, and squeeze, and now you have the 2 pieces that you're going to create a bundle. Now you're going to crisscross them in kind of an X pattern, and you're going to use a half of a pipe cleaner. Whoop, I got a full one there, just because I'm doing a quick demonstration here of just how to create that bundle. Just to backtrack a little bit. But that's as easy as that. And look how beautiful. The more variety of mesh that you use with stripes and a checkered pattern and the snowball, the more you mix it up, the more interesting, the more beautiful your wreath will be. Now you can use any combination of deco mesh that you like. All of my deco mesh came from craftoutlet.com. I love their deco mesh. It's very good quality, very, very minimal fraying, if any. And for all of the mesh that you saw me use, those were all craftoutlet.com. All right, so now, do you notice anything? The antlers changed. Okay, so now it's more of a red background, and I'm happier now with that. And I think it looks really cute. So I have those all glued on. I ended up gluing on my antlers with Aleene's Tacky Glue. I just felt it was a little more secure than the hot glue. And now I am planning to place on my jingle bells again. But this time, it's for real. I've decided on that ho 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 paper, and it's all good. So I'm just going to glue that down on the back side. Now hold your jingle bells up to your antler to be sure that they're going to be hanging exactly the way you would like for them to. See how they're dangling? Is that so cute or what? I love it. Okay, you have a nice red nose, some very cute eyes, some jingle bells on the antlers, and now it's time to create a method to attach that to the wreath frame. So I'm going to place a full-size pipe cleaner on the antler and on the other antler just by folding those in half. I have some little pieces of felt there, which I'll place on there as well. I feel that the Gorilla Hot Glue is satisfactory. But if you feel that you want more a different type of adhesion or an extra different type of adhesion, just use whatever glue you like. I like Aleene's Tacky Glue for any type of additional glue if I'm doing a project. All right, so now I'm thinking about the placement of my reindeer head. Now it's going, the nose or the bottom of the face is going to be resting just barely below the edge, the inside edge of the bottom, and then those antlers are going to protrude up into the top of the wreath. So I'm getting my placement all set now. I'm going to be attaching my bow at 9 o'clock. And then I'm going to attach the sign with the pipe cleaners right to the wreath frame. Now, as far as the bow is concerned, you do the same thing. You take those tails that were on the back of the bow, pull the tails through all that evergreen, find your wreath wire and twist it and secure it. Same thing with the 2 pipe cleaners on the antler head. Now, I did end up adding another pipe cleaner down at the bottom of the head by underneath the nose on the back side. This way I felt it needed just a little bit more. Okay, so I'm showing you here, I'm going to be placing some ornaments. Now, I believe I just chose white and I chose a matte red. So what I'm going to be doing is putting hot glue on the caps of the ornaments, pressing it down into the wreath, and I'm just going to arrange some ornaments around that wreath. I believe I used around 10 ornaments. You do you, however many you want to use. And I just distributed them symmetrically, white and red. I like to place ornaments around the outer perimeter of the wreath. It also helps to really fill in those outer perimeter spaces. And then I go around the wreath. If I feel that an ornament in a particular spot needs a little more glue, I just give it a little squirt of hot glue, and that will hold those in very well. I did take some time to go around my reindeer head to arrange my little evergreen pieces just the way I wanted it, around the head, the antlers, and the nose. I'm going to go ahead and take care of the tails, and I do angle my tails. I don't dovetail, I like to angle. And I'm going to start by angling the tail from my base, and then for the reindeer tail, I make that a little bit shorter because I like the layered look of the tails. And I'm showing you here how I like to place those ornaments on the outer perimeter. It really helps to fill in the shape. Now I'm going to take a full-size pipe cleaner. I'm going to make sure that I have it in alignment with the head of my reindeer. And I'm just going to create a loop, wrapping it around that wreath frame. And that's going to be how I'm going to hang my reindeer wreath. And this turned out so cute. Now you can use more ornaments or less. This is what I chose for mine. I think it's very full and super cute. And I hope you like this one. I think the paper, the scrapbook paper on the reindeer head is just the cutest look. So that's another idea. If you're interested in doing a reindeer head wreath, that reindeer head can be found at Hobby Lobby. If you like what you see on my channel, I hope you'll consider subscribing and give this video a thumbs up. And let me know what you think of this one in the comments. All right, until next time, you all take care.